Great. Hey, friends. So today we are talking to Mike Cessario. Is that correct? I want to make sure I pronounce it
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
From the founder of Liquid Death. And we're going to talk about the show Ramen Profitable. That's a series on millionstories.com. And we're also going to talk about Liquid Death and upcoming fatherhood. So, Mike, if you want to just give yourself like a brief introduction about who you are for anyone that's watching.
Yeah, I'm Mike. I am the CEO and founder of Liquid Death Mountain Water. We're a basically mountain spring water company that puts water in tall boy aluminum cans that look like beer and have a skull on them. There you go. Yeah, we launched like a little over 2 years ago now, and it's one of the fastest growing non-alc beverage brands of all time. I think everybody's surprised. It's something that seems so niche, like I made most decisions about the brand under the guise of like, would Slayer think this is cool? And even with that approach, we still have this huge mainstream appeal and audience because I think there's a bunch of different reasons, but I think this thing just got so much bigger than most people thought it would or could. And yeah, it's been a super fun journey.
Yeah, and I've been reading about it. I've had friends that drink it. And, like I see them posting, I'm like, where'd you get that at? Because like I couldn't find it anywhere around me.
Yeah.
So I ended up ordering some off of Amazon. Uh, but the one thing that I like about it is that basically there's a meaning behind the Liquid Death name. And it's in the Ramen Profitable, but those that haven't seen it yet, could you just give us a little insight on what that meaning is of Liquid Death?
Yeah. So we kind of have two different things, but like the bigger mission that we're sort of helping propel is like death to plastic. So like everyone knows that plastic bottles are bad news. It's almost like plastics become like the new tobacco. Like everybody's trying to get rid of it, from like giant hotel chains and music venue chains, and entire countries are starting to ban single-use plastic. And aluminum is infinitely recyclable. It's one of the only materials that actually gets recycled because it's actually profitable to recycle it. Because metal has a lot of material value. You melt it down, you can sell bricks of metal for a lot more than you can sell piles of ground up plastic. So most people don't realize when you put your plastic bottle in a recycling bin, it goes to a recycling facility and then they send it to a landfill because they'd go out of business trying to recycle it because there's no real market for recycled plastic. So yeah, helping to bring death to plastic bottles. And then, the other thing we talk about is like nothing's better than water for murdering your thirst. So there's kind of those two angles for it.
Yeah, and I think that's really great, and I think it's hilarious, that angle, because like even on the side of the can, like the story that's on there about the kids and the mountains and the demons,
Yeah.
it's great. And then I know in the series that you do talk about that you wanted to do something that is you, but also because you were pitching things to other companies, and people are afraid to do things. People are afraid to go that extra mile, or just do something different. And that's what I see with this. I mean, this is, obviously, if I walk around the street drinking this, I'll probably get pulled over thinking it's beer, but it's water. And I
Yeah.
think that's like the cool thing about it. It's just, you wouldn't picture someone walking around with a tall boy drinking water, but it is, and it's good water.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I thought we thought it was, weird that how come only unhealthy, terrible stuff gets to have all the coolest branding and packaging. It's like beer, like craft beer looks awesome. There's craft beers called Skull Crusher IPA, and like there's all this cool stuff with beer and energy and candy and chips, and Snickers does some of the funniest commercials, but like anything healthy is usually pretty boring.
Mm-hmm.
And I think water was an interesting thing, that everybody drinks water. It doesn't matter who you are. And even though it's like this hugely broad category of a product, bottled water, it was all marketed in such a narrow way to a narrow demo. So I thought, yeah, how do we make water way more fun to walk around with, where it's like, oh, when you're holding a tall boy, if you want to have a water in a bar or at a party, it doesn't feel weird or off, or like,
Yeah, you're not
walking,
standing out.
you're not standing out. Yeah. Or it's like, to your point, we've noticed that people like it because it is like literally social, meaning if you walk around with one of these, there's a good chance two people are going to stop and talk to you just because of like, wait, what is that? Liquid
Mhm.
death. And like you're literally creating a human interaction because of it. Um, People like that, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, it's free marketing
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
and people where they can get it. Oh, you can get it here, there. You know, they'll go to the Instagram page, Facebook page, and start ordering off of you.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, a lot of things that I was seeing about that I thought was pretty cool. And then just visiting your website, I mean, there's so much on there that it's the the record. How did that come up? The greatest haters, is it?
Greatest hates. Yeah.
Yeah. Like how did I mean, you know, everyone's, you know, if you're online, if you have some sort of social media presence, you're gonna get those people that are not gonna like you for some reason. And by doing what you're doing with their comments, I think that's just hilarious. And like, how did that come about?
Yeah. So it start it started as this social post series that we did where we we screen grabbed like you know, like a funny pissed off hater comment from one of our social posts where we would just screen grab the comment and then stuck it on what looks like an ad for Liquid Death, where it's like a nice shot of our can with this hater comment next to it with this little bug at the bottom that says people love us on the internet. And we started posting those, and those were the highest performing social posts we did, and they literally only took us 20 minutes to make. um, so then once we realized how much people like, it's like they liked seeing that other people don't get it, or that other people are kind of stupid about it and trying to be jerks, and like it almost galvanizes their love for the brand, where it's
Right.
like, oh, I'm gonna only buy this now, fuck that guy. um, so once we knew that was successful, we just started thinking about, well, what else could we do with like celebrating our haters or people who just like don't get it at all.
Mhm.
And yeah, somehow we had the idea like, well, what if what if we made the hater comments like lyrics to actual like heavy metal songs? And then that made the first so the first Greatest Hits album was a metal album, and the lyrics were all verbatim comments from social. And then that did really well. So then we said, okay, let's make a new one, and maybe this next one is a punk album. So we got a bunch of cool punk musicians together, and they wrote the album. And you know, we literally pulled the comments out, and they cobbled together the lyrics from verbatim comments, and they're actually singing them this time versus like growling them. Um, and yeah, and yeah, people love it.
Yeah, I think that's great. And like I said, like your brand is not playing it safe, which is great because a lot of people are trying to do that. I saw that you called out like CEOs of other companies for a skateboarding contest,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which I think that's hilarious, and I hope we get to see that. You guys are also doing a horror movie coming out soon too.
Yeah, we just released a trailer yesterday. Um, and yeah, shot a full, you know, basically feature length, like 45-minute horror movie. And yeah, we work with like super legit talent. Like it's not like an advertising agency made the movie. You know, it was
Mhm.
like we work with a production company called Neighborhood that just did the movie Concrete Cowboy on Netflix. And, you know, the director and writer of the movie was this guy, Will Carsola, who was the writer, director, creator of the Adult Swim cartoon called Mr. Pickles that has a few seasons on Adult Swim. So yeah, it was really fun, talented, like legit entertainment people that helped us make it. And yeah, it was super fun. And hopefully people, you know, get as much of a kick out of it, you know. And it's not, I think people be surprised, like, I think how serious we took such a ridiculous idea. Like it's shot really well. It's almost like it has no business being this good for how stupid the idea is, you know? But yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome. And then a good, I mean, like, to I guess to sum everything up with all this is that this just came out of an idea that you had for making a healthy substitute for energy drinks or just sugar waters that are out there. And then now you're not only, you know, you got t-shirts, you got albums, you got movies coming out with all this. I mean, so anybody like that's like me, that's, you know, doing a website is like my hustle. And then this gives me like, you know, that inspiration to, okay, if I got something that I want to do, I should just, you know, like I guess kind of like how you said, just, you know, just go with it, make your brain think the opposite of
Yeah.
what if it's a bad idea. But for anyone out there that has like, an idea of something of what they can try to or they want to do, what advice would you have for them, other than watching the series Ramen Profitable?
Yeah. I think the best thing you can do is, yeah, to your point, it's like the most innovative ideas are things that are basically laughable at first. Like they have to seem super stupid and dumb. Because if you find something that everyone's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, that might be more of a telling that you're onto something good. Versus if you start telling people about your idea and they're like, oh, that's brilliant, you should do that tomorrow, probably means there's 10 other people who've already been thinking of it.
Mhm.
So being honest about that, good ideas that you start pursuing often sound super dumb at first. And then the second thing being, find a really low cost way to test your idea. Like I think a lot of people are of the mindset, I have this idea and I'm just going to go around and tell somebody with money my idea. And they're just going to be like, they can't get their checkbook out fast enough to write me a check. Like that's not going to happen. So if you can find some way to prove that there's some viability, and like social media gives you the tools to do that for super cheap. It's like, I don't know, like if you're going to create a coffee shop, like go buy a paper cup, get someone to make a logo and print a sticker and stick it on the cup, take a photo of that and try to make an Instagram page where you make it seem like you have a real coffee shop. How many people like that photo? How many people comment on it? What happens? Like that might be just enough where you can show that then to people who have money to invest and say, hey, look, I made this Instagram page with my cups or whatever. And like people love the logo and they're like, where do I get this coffee? That's way better story to get someone willing to take a risk on you to actually then fund your idea and really grow it. And that's sort of what we did with Liquid Death. Like
Mhm.
tested it with a Facebook page and we weren't even a real product and made it seem real and got all the, comments, likes, views, all of that stuff that then people were finally willing to take our crazy idea serious when it came time to like actually raising money. So
Awesome, thank you. So I know you're going to be a father soon. Um, what are you looking forward to in fatherhood?
oh, man. Well, I'm really excited that we're having a girl. And yeah, I think it's like I'm really excited to just like, you know, teach them the things that I know. It's like I think about taking her snowboarding for the first time. Like I can't wait for that. Or like teaching her guitar and teaching her all these things. And hopefully, one of them she just like really latches onto, I would never force her to do anything she didn't want to do. But I feel like, yeah, just being able to expose her to all these cool, interesting things that, will hopefully make her cool.
Yeah,
I think that's really fun to think about.
yeah. Also, like one of the cool things you're going to notice is like re-seeing something that you saw as a kid through their eyes, and then how they experience it.
That's cool.
That's like one of like the greatest things. As you can see behind me, I got all the like the geeky stuff, and it's like my children see it, and then little. I never like force them on it, but little by little, what's this? What's that? Oh, I want to see that. And then now it's like they're on their own little mini geeks, which is my
So
wife's not happy about it sometimes.
I always wonder that too, if like, is the perception of that stuff to young kids now different than it, like so different than it was for us, or is it not that different? Like when we saw the first Star Wars, it was like, but if a kid's looking at YouTube at crazy Pixar looking stuff, and then you see this thing, are they like, oh, that looks weird, or I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, that looks old.
Yeah.
One of the things on our short-lived Fandads podcast, we would always ended up with a segment called Power PWR. So I want to ask you, it's basically what are you playing right now? If you're playing the games, what are you watching and what are you reading?
I'm not a gamer at all, actually. I don't play any games,
Okay.
video games or anything. Um, we watch a lot, mostly driven by my my wife that got me into it. But like we watch a lot of like true crime stuff. So
Okay.
like, yeah, murder solving, crazy weirdness.
Uh-huh.
Um, what was the last one? Reading?
What are you reading? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the book I just finished is right here. It's the whole the book about Caddyshack and National Lampoons and how that all came to be.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, it was really cool. Um, Interesting to see how there was so like I identified with there were so many parallels to like National Lampoons and how that started to like what's happening with Liquid Death. Like it was really thought provoking. But and Caddyshack's one of my favorite movies of all time, so that part was cool too. But
Yeah, I don't know if my kids are old enough to watch that yet,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, that's a great one. Well, thank you for your time. And last thing, how do you think the Eagles are going to do this year?
Better than people think they're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think right now in Vegas the over under for their wins is 6.5.
Okay.
I'm going to take the over on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been a fan since the days of Cunningham, and then every
Oh
time I say
yeah,
it, people always think
nice.
that I make it to rhyme, but like it's just that's just how it is. So
Yeah,
even though I'm born and raised in Chicago, I've been an Eagles fan since watching him run out the pocket and just scramble for so many miles. I'm like, I gotta watch this guy every week.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, maybe Jalen Hurts will have some good moments like that this year.
Yeah, hopefully they have a good year this year.
Cool.
But thank you very much, man. Thank you very much for your time again, Mike. Liquid Death can be found Whole Foods and basically Amazon and anywhere pretty much, right? At the moment,
Yeah,
or
Whole Foods, 7-Eleven, liquiddeath.com, all good spots.
cool. Thank you, and well, I guess we'll talk next time. Hopefully,
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Victor.
take care.
All right, see ya. Bye.